Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Football League Show. My name's Emmett. I'm here with my co-host Brendyn Ford,
What's up, y'all?
where the lighting is bad, and the takes are worse.
Hell yeah. Let's
I'm
get
just
it.
kidding. If we address it, it's not as bad. All right, as we do this every week. You guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and X. I guess we're supposed to be calling it now X. So
might as well.
might as well. I guess that's here to stay. We're going to be talking about a couple things. The year is coming to a close. They're going to review a couple of our previous takes from earlier in the year, see where we were right, see where we were wrong, make fun of ourselves for it, for some of our opinions at the time. And then we're also going to discuss Cam Ward's draft profile. So we finally watched his tape. He did officially declare, so that's why we decided to make the draft video on him. But before we get into all that, we're going to start off with our News of the Week segment. A couple of big things happened this week. Ravens and the 49ers clinched the top seed in the AFC and NFC. What else we got here? Oh, the Pro Bowl rosters were set. And fun fact for you, Brock Purdy led all players in voting with over 450,000 votes.
That's crazy.
I believe 49ers players had the most votes out of all the teams, actually, as well. So they had 9 Pro Bowlers.
Votes. He had first place by like a large margin too, I think. About like 40,000, I think, something like that.
I believe so. The 49ers had the most Pro Bowlers at 9, and the Patriots, Packers, Commanders, and Panthers all had the least at 0 Pro Bowlers. Not a single Pro Bowler on those rosters.
Damn. That's wild.
Before we get into anything else real quick, I do want to hear, who are your top couple snubs? Who do you think should have gotten in that did not?
Yeah, I mean, a little teaser for a turn on a spotlight segment, but I think linebacker TJ Edwards for the Bears should have gotten in. Not a lot of people know his name. He's not like a household name, but his stats are there. DJ Moore is another guy, another Bear that probably should have got more love. Our guy Brendyn, BA, the Niners. Come on, man. He had some crazy stats this year too. There's one more, but I'm like blanking. Who you got?
I'm going to say Anton Winfield Jr. All the guys you said, but Anton Winfield Jr., who had a quietly spectacular season, didn't get the nod over Buda Baker for some reason, which nothing against Buda Baker, good player, but he didn't really put up
Wasn't he hurt for most of the season too, or no?
I feel like he was. So he didn't get the record. Anton Winfield Jr. didn't make it. Derek Stingley should have gotten a nod, I think. So a couple of surprising quarterbacks didn't get it. Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts did not make it.
And Allen, that's another guy. He had like 40 total touchdowns this year, right? Something like that, like 41, yes. I think it was.
Yeah, something crazy. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know we're forgetting somebody else that definitely should have gotten in, but I cannot remember.
St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah,
that's who it was. Yep,
he had a really good freaking year. I can't believe he didn't get in. So there's a couple of snubs. I was curious to see who you thought was, where your thoughts went with that. But you guys let us know in the comment section, who do you think was a snub for the Pro Bowl this year, who absolutely deserved to get in and was robbed. But while you guys do that, we're going to move on. The Jaguars have opened Christian Kirk's 21-day practice window to return from IR. Which is way ahead of schedule. I know they're initially talking about him not being available till potentially the end of the year, maybe like for the last couple of weeks of playoffs if they got that far.
Yeah.
But he is expected to play in the playoffs if they make it. They also have a chance to make the playoffs with a win on Sunday. They will clinch the AFC South if they beat the Tennessee Titans.
Yep. Which is wild. I didn't think they would be in this spot to be close to not winning the South at the beginning of the season, but that's just, NFL football for you.
Yeah. Also, the Jets and Dalvin Cook have mutually agreed to part ways. This does make him available for any team to pick him up. And I'm not sure if this has been confirmed yet, but I did see earlier that he was negotiating with the Ravens to join their team, or he'd already signed a contract to join their team. I wasn't sure where that was at. Do you know if you heard anything about that?
I think it's pretty close to done. I haven't seen that confirmed tweet either, but Adam Schefter broke the news that like he was expected to join the Ravens. And I don't know if it's it's like the ink is dried yet on the contract, but he is expected to go there, which makes sense. They need help in the backfield, and he wants to go chase a ring. So
Yeah. Speaking of
yeah,
which, Lyle Collins has agreed to a contract with the Cowboys. I know initially the thought process was that he would join their practice squad, but I think there's too much other interest out there from other teams that the Cowboys has to just upgrade it to a active roster addition. So that's
interesting.
a little bit of line help right before the playoffs. Last little bit of big news. It's kind of football adjacent news, I should say. Tyreek Hill's house caught on fire on Wednesday. It was a huge thing. Apparently, it was started by a child playing with a cigarette lighter. Thankfully, no one was harmed. His wife, it's his wife now, right?
It's his wife. Yeah, he got married
Wife.
during the season. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. So his wife is okay. The kids are all okay. No one's hurt. Tyreek left practice early to go home and handle that situation. So, but yes, we did want to at least discuss it. That did happen. His house did catch on fire. The fire department had to be called. It looked like a decent sized blaze. I don't think the whole house like burned down, but definitely going to need some repairs. So, but thankfully everyone is okay in that situation.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah. So that kind of wraps up our news of the week segment. It was more like big headline stuff, not a whole lot of nitty gritty details there. Um, with that, we can turn it on over to our turn on the spotlight segment, as B kind of alluded to a little bit ago. We're going to be discussing linebacker TJ Edwards of the Bears. He was one of the under the radar free agency signing for the Bears this past offseason. I think he signed a 3-year, $15 million deal or something like that. Something like it
Around
was like,
there. Yeah,
yeah, really
around
low
there.
cost. It
Yeah.
looks to be the steal of free agency with the way he played. But I won't say anymore. I will turn over to B and let him tell you guys all about Mr. TJ Edwards, the former Badger.
Yes. Turn on the spotlight. So yeah, like you already said, from University of Wisconsin, 6'1", 240. He played for a few seasons with the Eagles. I think he played like his full rookie contract. I think so, like 4 years. He's 27 years old right now, and yeah. So I just want to give him some love here, give him some like praise because I feel as though he was snubbed. Again, he's not like a household name, but I think his play speaks for itself. So just going over his like stats real quick for you all. In 2023, he has 145 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 8 QB hits, 7 pass breakups, 4 interceptions, 2.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 forced fumble. This dude is all over the place in the run game and in the pass game. Now, since I am a Bears fan, I watched him every single game. If you don't know him, go ahead, pop in his highlights, and you'll see everything what I'm about to talk about now. Um, in the run game, he is super tough, man. He can take on blocks well. He's fast. He can shoot the gap. He's also a sound tackler. He understands leverage and tracks the near hip well, meaning you won't see many times where he overplays the ball carrier. Right? We've seen plays a lot of times where the linebacker or the safety, whoever on defense, is running at an angle like pursuing the ball carrier and is over pursuing the guy cuts back. You will hardly see that with TJ Edwards. He's very very sound. He also knows his run fits well. He knows when to box. He knows when to balance a play outside. Again, he understands leverage. He also understands where all other people on the defense are fitting in as well. So he's also like very, very smart too. He's also a good blitzer. He blitzes with speed and power, and he is great in zone coverage. Again, he has 4 interceptions. He's all over the place out there. But I would say though, just to be not really criticism, but a little bit nitpicky. He's not the best athlete. He can obviously get outrun by receiver type players. Of course, he is 6'1", 240. But he's not like that freak athlete who you see at the linebacker spot. He is a good athlete. He's not a great one or a freak. And he can also struggle in man coverage. Usually when he's manned up against like a fast, running back, the advantage goes to that running back. Again, because he's not really a great athlete. But he does play the game the right way. He is tough. He's a very sound linebacker. He plays the will in the Bears defense, which is a pretty like star spot for the Matt Eberflus run defense. So he is a big part of that unit. I'm excited to watch him for the next couple of years. Again, he has 2 more years on his contract. But yeah, man, this guy can ball. It's pretty cool watching him play as a Badger, and he's also a local kid too. So yeah, man, I have nothing but praise. Again, just want to give TJ his flowers. Thank you for like a great season 2 as a Bears fan. And again, we are excited to have you on our squad.
So I was kind of curious to see. So for those that don't know, there's a thing amongst Bears fans that they call the Bears tax. It means that players going to get less recognition because they play for the Bears. I was curious to see if TJ Edwards had made the Pro Bowl last year with the Eagles and what his numbers compared to last year versus this year to see if maybe there was some validity to that kind of Bears tax. So it looks like he did not make the Pro Bowl last year, but he did make Pro Football Focus's first team All Pro selection in 2022. And you could argue, based on a lot of his numbers, that he actually had a better season this year than he did last year. He had more interceptions this year, I think about the same amount of sacks, a few more tackles. So, I mean, it could be one way to kind of see if that is a true fact, if he doesn't make that same kind of first team all pro selection. But sorry, I was just kind of curious to see that. But
no, yeah. I didn't even know that fact too. So hopefully he can get that same again. Hopefully he get the actual all pro award this season too through the league. He is playing at really like high level. Yeah. But no, man, thank you for that. I didn't even know that like fact.
Yeah, sorry, I just really looked it up right now because while you're talking, I was listening. I was like, wow, he did have a great season. I wonder if this was, but that's a great breakdown by you. He's definitely one of more like the old school linebackers, hard thumpers, 240. You feel it when he hits you kind of player. So I know he's done a great job for you. He's been a great Badger alum. I know Wisconsin talks very highly about him as well. So it's exciting to see him thriving in Chicago. And it's even cooler to see that, if you guys don't know this as well, B is not only our residential Bears fan on the show, he is also a residential Ohio State fan. So you don't know how much it killed him to write that piece about a former Badger. So
no, actually, I actually love the Badgers. I don't think you know this about me, but my uncle went there, so I've been to actually like 10 Badger games. Actually, too. I love that. Yeah, I watch them. Yeah.
So that's why you don't say anything mean to me about the Badgers. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's curious. I'm actually that's like one of my like favorite teams.
Okay, all right. I thought you were a big Ohio State fan.
The more you know. Yeah.
The more you know. Wait till you learn what Team B was a fan of growing up initially before the Bears. So that will be
it's crazy.
that might just be our trivia question for our for those that don't know. We are having we're going to do a giveaway once we get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm thinking that might just be the question. You need to leave a comment in the comment section about what B's favorite team was as a kid in order to be entered into the raffle. But
I like that.
With that, we'll leave that teaser alone for there. We will move on to our NFL games of the week. I don't think we made a decision about if we're going to continue to do the games of the week once we get to the playoffs. I imagine we will, but obviously less of a selection.
We could this week for every playoff game, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But we could just pick every playoff game.
We could. I like that idea.
See what happens?
Yeah. For this week, we've cut it down. We normally do about 3 games or 4 games. We're only doing 3 this week because a lot of games are kind of a wash. Some of them have playoff implications. Some teams have either already found out that they're eliminated from the playoffs, or there's no playoff implications of the games. The starters will be rested. In fact, it looked like preseason week 4 out there. I think they had like 15 or 17 backup quarterbacks starting this week. So that's
stupid, man. It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is. But I mean, good opportunity for the backups to get a little bit extra cash for those in-game bonuses. Yeah. But starting off, we are going to discuss the Texans-Colts game, the Bears-Packers game, and the Bills-Dolphins. All 3 have major playoff implications. Before we get to that, B, do you have the numbers for last week to see how we did?
Yes. So, you picked we both picked the Cowboys. You went Finns, I went Ravens. We both went Bucks, and then we both went Packers. So my math is right. I went 3-1, and then you went 2-2. The Bucks kind of screwed us over, but we also got lucky with the mishap in the Lions Cowboys game.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
true.
could have got those wrong too.
Damn.
So I think overall it was a good week.
Yeah. What was my picks again? I picked the Cowboys and
Cowboys,
Cowboys.
Finns, Bucks,
That's what it
Packers.
was. That's what it was.
Mm,
The Finns. The Finns fucked me
the
too.
Finns.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, I knew I should. I got sometimes you got to relearn a lesson. I never go against the
The
Ravens.
Ravens are
So
tough, man. They are
I know.
tough. Well, I was not expecting a 40-point blowout either. So that's
No.
crazy.
They also, I think they had, not that this made a huge worldly difference, but Raheem Mostert didn't play in that game, did he?
Yeah, no, he was out. Waddle was out, and then Chubb
Yeah.
got hurt too. That's actually pretty
Yeah.
big news. He tore his ACL. He's out for the season. So they lost
Yeah.
two of their starting edge rushers
Yep.
so
And
far
I
this
think
season.
Xavier Howard got hurt as well, if I remember saying
I
that
think you're
correctly.
right. Yeah,
So Dolphins might be
they
limping
are
into the
banged up.
playoffs here.
Yeah,
But we're going to get into our games and picks this week. Like I said, a 500 average ain't bad. Still making money off of that.
yep.
First one's first. We're going to go with the Texans Colts, the battle of the AFC South. So this one, pretty much, both these teams it's their first week of playoffs. Loser is more likely out of the playoff picture. Winner still has a chance to win the AFC South, depending on what happens in the Jaguars-Titans games. So the game will be in Indianapolis. The Texans are actually favored by 1.5 points. ESPN Predictor is giving the Colts a 51.6% chance of winning. This game will take place in a dome, so weather shouldn't impact it too much. B, who are you taking and why?
I think I'm going with the Cinderella story. Give me the Texans in a close one. I think the Colts are going to try and lean on their run game, and I'm just going to believe in the Texans defense to try to stifle them there. The Colts weapons on the outside don't really wow me that much. I think the Texans defense can hold them pretty well. I think the Texans offense is going to keep on humming. Stroud's back. He returned last week. They look pretty good. Give me the Texans in a close one.
Yeah, I was kind of a little torn on this one. I know there's a lot of injuries on the Texans side going in. Like I think I saw even that Will Anderson Jr. is a little bit questionable, but I've grown to love this Texans team over this season. I've grown to love their fan base, so I'm not going to pick against them now. Give me the Texans in this one as well. In fact, I think the Texans bold take for the week. I think the Texans win the AFC South.
Ooh, let's get it. Come on.
Jaguars get
So
upset by the Titans, and Texans win the South, making our
there we
video come
go.
true.
Hey, Mike Vrabel is ready. If you saw his presser, he's ready,
Oh yeah,
man. He's ready.
oh yeah, he wants this one. He wants this
Yep.
one badly. So, who's starting for them? Do we even know who's starting for the Titans this week? Is it
I actually
Tannehill
don't
or is it
know.
Will Levis? That's okay.
I don't know if it's been said yet.
Moving on to our next game in the frozen tundra, we have the Bears taking on the Packers in Green Bay. The Packers control their own destiny. If they win, they're in. They lose, they're out. So the Bears have a chance to do the cheeseheads dirty. The game will be in Green Bay. The Packers are favored by 3 points, which is kind of odd considering the home team gets 3. They're only favored by 3. ESPN Predictor is giving the Packers a 57.3% chance of winning this game. It's going to be 28 degrees, and there's a chance of snow. B, who are you taking and why?
So the Packers should win this game. But looking at the DVOA rankings, they're the better overall team. Their defense, though, worries me a little bit. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the Bears here, just because last game of the season. Why not? Bears defense is playing pretty well. The Bears offense, though, is still not as efficient as the Packers offense, but given the Packers defense is a little bit wishy-washy, I kind of hope that kind of just washes each other out there. It's supposed to be cold and snowy, so hopefully the Bears defense can kind of hold up there and keep playing strong. Give me the Bears in a close one.
So since adding Montez Sweat, the Bears defensive unit has actually been one of the top units in the league. I believe they were top 10 in most statistical categories.
I think so.
This game is going to be, if it snows, it's going to be gross. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be white and terrible and shitty. And you know what happens with those? The passing game rarely flourishes. So of the two quarterbacks, who do I expect to take over with their running ability? I'm going to go with Fields in this one. Nothing against the Packers, but I don't trust that defense right now. Give me the Bears in this one. I think they pull off the upset. Eberflus is essentially playing for his job. What better statement to make for Justin Fields going to this off season to Ryan Poles of, hey, I just beat the Packers. Are you really going to trade me? Then knocking them out of the playoffs. I think Bears get revenge this week. Moving on to our final game. Wow, we're in unison just today.
We are.
Which is never good. I know. Listen, people that are listening to it are like, wow, these guys have synced up. It's like, no. That usually means we're going to be wrong. So
if you are betting, pick opposite what we're picking because chances are we are going to get these picks wrong.
If you're on FanDuel right now, go with the opposite of what we're saying because it's a seasonal thing. Every time we pick the same team, it never seems to work out. I feel like lately that has kind of changed. We both picked the Cowboys last week, so I think we're starting to sync up in a good way. So maybe that's what's going on here.
Maybe.
Final game, we have the Bills and the Dolphins. The game will be in Miami. The Bills are still favored by 3, though. ESPN Predictor is giving the Bills a 54.3% chance of winning. It's, of course, going to be a terrible, terrible Florida day, which means 69 degrees and partly cloudy. So weather won't be a factor in this one.
Oh, I wish, dude. Jeez.
For people that don't know, fuck Florida, man. What kind of shit is that? I hate to go on this tangent in the middle of our football pocket. 69 degrees in winter. What's wrong with you, Florida?
And that night, that's a Sunday night game.
Yeah, that's a Sunday fucking night game.
Jeez.
Normally people do. This is why people do crazy shit in Florida. You can't have 69 degrees that are nighttime. Winter?
Right. Come on. Come on.
All right.
Come on.
With that, I step off my soapbox. You guys can go back and have your fantastic fucking winters there. Bill, who are you? Who are you taking? Bill, who are you taking? I don't know what your name is.
Bill, who are you taking?
Who are you taking in this one?
I want to give the Finns the benefit of the doubt because they are a better team. Good teams bounce back after just getting completely destroyed the week prior. But the Bills are kind of hot right now. The Finns are banged up. I feel like they're kind of limping right now. We already mentioned all the injuries going on. Give me the Bills, man, in an upset, I guess. I think the Bills are technically favored. Yeah, they're favored.
Yeah.
But give me the Bills, which would be a wild story.
Yeah, I'm gonna. What's so wild about this too is there's a small chance if the Bills lose, they could be knocked out of the playoffs. I think I saw it earlier. I think it's if the Bills lose, the Steelers win, the Texans game doesn't end in a tie, and the Jaguars win, the Bills technically could get knocked out of the playoffs with a loss. So, which would be a wild story, especially when we discussed earlier in the year about Sean McDermott and missing the playoffs and all of that good jazz about that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way in hell that happens. The Dolphins are limping right now. As much as I know they want to win this game, I'm just not sure they have the ammunition to win this game right now. They need a break in the worst kind of way. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. They're playing for the playoff lives essentially. They don't want to make it come down to someone else's destiny or have someone else hold their destiny in their hands. So I think they want to just win and be in and call it a night. And if they win the AFC East, so they get to host a playoff game as well. Especially how the season's gone.
Jeez.
I mean, good on Sean McDermott for riding that ship because it was looking bleak there for a second, especially after the Broncos game.
Loss. Yeah. It was looking bad.
Yeah. So give me the Bills as well. I think we've synced up on all three of these. We both picked the Bills, we both picked the Bears, and we both picked the Texans, I believe, right?
Yep. 3 for 3 the same. So either we're going to be 0-3 or 3-0. Here we go.
I know. What it is, we're going to have the same record. So
yeah.
Again, if you guys are on FanDuel, bet against us because this never ends well for us.
Fade us.
While you're at it, head down to the comment section. Tell us what you think. Who are you taking in these 3 games and why? Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We do this every week, and we always love hearing from you guys. Not always. We mostly love hearing from you guys. Some people get disrespectful sometimes, which is unfortunate. But I know. But a lot of times we really do enjoy the conversations with you guys, and you always have something cool and interesting to tell us, and we love hearing it. But with that, we are going to move on to our segments of the week. And I have to give this disclaimer now. For those of us that are just rejoining us because you didn't want to hear everything else and just want to see our Cam Ward draft profile breakdown, welcome back. You missed some fun things. B did a breakdown of Bears linebacker TJ Edwards. We picked our games of the week. I called B Bill for a second there, and we went on a tangent about Florida. Hi.
Fun times.
Fun times. But with that, we're going to get to the draft. Cam Ward draft profile. This one was kind of interesting to me. I think this is the trickiest one I think we've done so far of the other ones that we have. And if you haven't had a chance to watch those, you could check them out. I believe either up here or up there. We will add the tag of the cards so you guys can just click on them after and go watch them. We've done most of the top quarterbacks at this point, and Xavier Legette. With that, we watched the Wisconsin game for Cam Ward, an Oregon State game, and we had to end up watching a highlight tape for him because I didn't realize how tough it was to watch Washington State games. I don't know if they're like blocked behind a security wall or something, but I couldn't find them anywhere. And normally we can find the full games. So this guy, if you guys don't know his story, he was not highly recruited out of high school. He ended up having to go to Incarnate World, which is an FCS school. Had a really great playoff run with them, ended up being Sac State, and I think made it to the FCS either semifinals or finals.
I think it was
before
finals.
Game. Was it the finals? Yeah, I think it was the finals against North Dakota State where they lost.
Something like that.
Either way, so after that was offered an opportunity to go play at Washington State on a full ride, accepted it. First year was really exciting, great dual threat. Second year, topped his numbers. Everyone's really excited for him. Entered the transfer portal, but ended up deciding he was going to declare for the NFL draft instead. So with that, these are some of the pros, the cons, style comp, and draft grade that I found for him. I said that he had a great pocket presence. He had a quick, compact kind of throwing motion. No, it wasn't really a whole lot of like we saw with I think it was Caleb Williams where he passed the ball. It's just a quick, barely almost overarm throw.
Mm-hmm.
He's an accurate passer who throws with pretty good anticipation. I feel like there's quite a few plays where we are noting down where he was throwing receivers before they're getting out of breaks, a couple of wheel routes, a couple of outbreaking routes, just great anticipation from him. Wasn't really expecting that, but nice surprise. He's really good, I felt, in the short areas and throwing to out routes into the boundary a little bit. He's great at buying time in the pocket, has a great, like I mentioned before, a great pocket presence, but he's really good at just being able to do the little moves to escape and buy himself just enough time to get the throw off. He's definitely more of a passer than a runner. He seemed, I don't want to say reluctant to run, but you can definitely tell he was waiting till the last moment to run it. And it was only if he had to. He wanted to be a thrower. He has really good touch. He has a strong arm to average arm. It's not going to wow you. It's not going to be a Drake May or a Joe Milton kind of arm. It's just he can make all the NFL throws. So, but it's not going to be something where you're like, wow, this dude, dropped a 70-yard dime kind of thing. He was definitely towards the end of the year, seemed like he was more willing to test tight windows. The cons for him, he's not the most gifted athlete, which kind of surprised us because a lot of the talk going into it was he's this dual threat quarterback. He's mobile. He's a runner. And I don't think we got that vibe from him. I mean, against the Wisconsin game, he was getting caught by D tackles. He wasn't really outrunning people. He wasn't making people miss a whole lot. So he's not going to be a Lamar Jackson back there. He's not a Jaden Daniels back there, but he's definitely more like the Michael Penix Jr. kind of realm of athleticism. I said that he was not an aggressive passer. He's not really trying to push the ball down the field too often, besides the occasional, deep shot of, a fade or seam, whatever it was. But he's not, hitting a whole lot of throws in that 15 to 20 yard range. It was mostly 10 yards or less, it seemed like. Again, very accurate though. The offensive scheme kind of seemed to really help him get guys open. It was less of, like I said, a lot of screenplays, a lot of motioning and snapping on the motion kind of stuff. And then his tape, I watched the Wisconsin game first and then the Oregon State game. I know you watched it in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
The Wisconsin tape was a little underwhelming. And then the Oregon State tape, I mean, it really seemed to like become extremely impressive when Josh Kelly was getting more involved. I put that he didn't have a great deep ball. A lot of times he was just slightly overthrowing guys or slightly underthrowing guys. So I'm curious to see how he does against better competition. My style comp, I said he was Russell Wilson, a less athletic version of Russell Wilson, but a lot of the same kind of characteristics of a quick throwing motion, accurate, great at throwing on the run, kind of dangerous with legs, but not anything where you're like, we need a spy at all times against this kind of guy. Draft grade, I gave him like a mid to low third round grade. That's where I would, in a normal unbiased draft, that's where I would expect him to go. Now, does he actually go there? Probably not. I would expect him to go probably somewhere in the second, depending on how quickly that quarterback run happens. I project him to be a low end starter, maybe a high end backup in the NFL. But B, I'll let you take it from there. Tell us what you thought, what you saw.
Yeah, no, thank you for that breakdown. I pretty much had everything you had. This is the plus one that I have kind of a pro and then a con with it. I kind of liked how he can play within the structure. I thought he can see the field pretty well. But he also has the ability to like improvise when he needed to, which is the pro. And then like the con is like sometimes being creative and kind of extending around the pocket kind of got him in trouble sometimes. Again, it's a small sample size. You only watched two games, but I saw that he took a couple bad sacks with that, so it kind of tells me like the timing was off or the awareness, something was like off there. He also got like strip sacks in the Oregon State game too, which I noticed just from trying to escape the pocket and didn't really understand or feel that awareness of bodies around him. But yeah, man, I thought I think he's very sound. His footwork, his release is quick. Like you said, he has good arm strength, not Caleb or Drake May level. But against Oregon State, he did throw like a skiddy post, like a seam route that pretty much was like a broken coverage play, but ended up being a touchdown. And the air yards on that throw was around like 55. So, and you can tell the receiver kind of stopped a little bit, so that could be his like max. I guess you can say maybe he can push the ball like 60 yards, but it's still solid. I like the fact he can throw with like different arm angles. Like you said, he kind of has like he never really goes over the top. I saw some sidearm action too a little bit with the short game, especially with like the bubbles and whatnot. Um, yeah, and then to your point too about not being as mobile as I thought he would be. Again, like he's not like Kirk Cousins back there, but I expect him to be more of a dual threat guy. I'll just kind of classify him as a mobile pocket passer. Like he can get out, like you said, like a Michael Penix Jr. type athletic ability, but definitely not like a Jaden Daniels. I think I saw on the Draft Buzz website that his 40 was like 4.8 or something like that. I think that pretty much tracks. If he can get a
Yeah.
little bit faster during the combine, maybe that can raise his stock a little bit. I do see the same thing as you. I kind of gave him like a day 2 grade, maybe like a second round. But then during the pre-show, we were thinking like, well, if there's a QB run, what's his ceiling? I think he could be like a mid to late first round pick if like from now until the draft he kind of kills it, whether at the combine, a pro day, whatever. There's always at least one guy that
Yeah.
skyrockets his stock after like the season ends. So, all in all, I think he's solid. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure if he'll be a franchise guy right now, but of course, like it's always tough to tell until they actually play. But yeah, no, I think he was solid.
Yeah, I want to just bounce off that point. So yeah, solid's a great word for him. I don't think he did anything that really wowed me. There's nothing that stood out where I was like, oh my god, this like what we saw with Drake May or what we saw with Michael Penix, the ball exploding out of his hand. It was never anything that was like this guy. Oh my gosh. I will want to add. I think the biggest concern I had for him was that he did seem to get to the right receiver and the right guy most of the time. But then there was also times where he would just, and these two incidences I'll point out really stuck out with me, where he just locked on and just it took him too long to get off. So the first one was against Wisconsin. Actually, both plays actually against Wisconsin, which was kind of early in the year, so maybe it just developed out of it later. But they were in the red zone. They had a kind of oh my god, what's it called? A mirrored play concept
Concepts.
where where the up receiver, this receiver on the line was kind of running more like almost like a stick route. Oh my gosh, my brain's leaving me here. Um,
It's late. It's late.
it is late. So anyway, it was pretty much just we're going to have you run right to the middle of the field, sit it down in the end zone. I think they're about 10 yards out. Guy behind it runs a wheel route off of it. Kind of if it's man coverage, it gets you a little bit of space for either the wheel to open up, or if the guy's off enough, you can hit the guy the stick guy in motion, allow him just use his momentum to carry him into the end zone. Cam Ward must have looked to the left, saw the corner was playing off, giving his receiver enough space for the stick route. Predetermined he's going there and went cool. And when he lined up to snap the ball, the corner came up and pressed, which pretty much just took that whole look away. You're not going to win that route against press coverage. There's also, I think it was a safety who was sitting right behind him about 5 yards off, which was taking away the wheel route. Upon snapping, what I would have liked to have seen him do, because again, it's not Madden. He can't freeze frame it. But once you look and see, this isn't there, I would like to have seen him come back quickly, because on the other side, on the wide side of the field, it did work out that way, where the receiver was running by himself, and if he had just gotten to him quicker, he could have delivered a ball, and it would have been a touchdown. Instead, what happened is the D tackle ended up getting pressure before he can get back, bailing out, and I think he ended up running for a 2-yard gain or something like that. But it's just a matter of he just lingered on it just a little bit too long. I'm it's not mad, and I understand that you're going to still look and have to see it. But once the receiver's getting carried 5 yards, you could probably come off of and go, okay, this isn't opening up, and get back to the other side and deliver that ball on time still. The other situation where this came into play was, I think it was a quarter later, Wisconsin was in a man defense, which a great concept against that is a mesh route. So you have the two slot receivers, usually tight end, receiver, whatever it is, run about 5 and 6 yards across the field, high five each other is the usual coaching point for that. And that usually will free up one of the guys because they'll outrun the defender who has to go over the other corner, to stay in coverage. Wisconsin dropped 3, had a Wisconsin rushed 3, dropped a spy, had 7 in coverage. And I don't know if it was just a bust in the concept, a bust in the route, whatever it was, but for some reason there was a guy to carry both meshers through the mesh point. And instead of recognize that as it was happening, going, okay, cool, I still got these guys on the other side waiting, instead of getting to his back, figuring, hey, there's no one to pick up my back as he's coming out of the backfield, he ended up just trying to run, got to it late, and eventually had to just throw the ball. But if he had recognized that quick enough and delivered it to his back had plenty of space to outrun the guy who was having to sit here and hold the mesh. If what I'm saying makes sense. Yeah. It's hard to.
So he's kind of staying on reads too much, kind of too, and just not going boom, boom, boom through his reads and whatnot.
Yeah, he had what would normally be the right answer, because again, that's a mesh concept. That should be a man beater. But once post snap, he's not reading as quickly as he is pre-snap, if that makes sense. He's not.
That does make sense.
He's not recognizing, hey, what I saw pre-snap is no longer there. I need to get to this next spot. And those are both the incidences where he didn't do that and ended up what could have still been a positive play ended up becoming a negative play or a neutral play. So that's the biggest concern I have from him. That can hopefully be cleaned up. And I did see that a couple other websites had that same concern as well. So I know it's not just me thinking that. But you guys tell us what you think. Is that a major concern? What do you think about Cam Ward? Head down to the comment section and let us know. Give us a like and subscribe. We do this every week. We have a whole playlist full of our other draft profiles. You guys can go watch that as well. But until next time, if this is where we're losing you, it's been B. It's been Emmett. This is the RFL show. See you guys. For those of us staying on, we are going to head to our last segment, which is... Oh, yeah, that's right.
This one's a fun one.
It's for those of us that have either come to enjoy what we do over this season or have come to hate us, and for some reason you still watch these because you hate us. Either way, this is your moment. We're going to look back at some of our moment to shine. We're going to look back at some of our takes from earlier in the season and the off season and see where were we right, where were we wrong. Are we stupid? Are we smart? Can we see the future? Who knows? We're going to keep it simple. B's going to give his positive. I'm going to give my negative. We'll keep going through that and flip it back and forth. So, B, I'll let you go first. What was your first potential? What was your take that we hit on this year?
Yeah, so as the local Bears fan here, I did have a Bears take. Before the season started, I said, worst case scenario, they win 7 games this year. Best case, they win like 10. And people are like, oh no, they're not gonna be anything close to that. They'd be lucky to win 4 or 5. Give me the good old shit on Twitter or whatnot. And sure enough, they end up winning their 7th game last weekend. So that was a hit. Before the season started, or I guess right when the season started, it looked like the ceiling for this team was 4 wins. They started off 0-4, but in the last 12, they went 7-5. And to make the point a little bit sweeter, I know it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they are the second team ever to blow 3 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. So they could be at 10 wins right now, which is crazy to think about this team potentially being in the playoff spot right now. So I think that was a good ass hit.
Yeah, especially if they had added Montez Sweat earlier, maybe those wouldn't have been blowout losses.
Maybe.
Or would have given up double-digit leads. I did obviously have a 49ers take. I think I said they were going to go 13-4, worst case 10-7, but that's not. I'm not going to consider that a great. That's pretty obvious.
They were a great hit, Emmett. Let's go. Come on.
They were a good team in the offseason. Anyone with 2 eyes can call it that. But what they would have probably seen that we didn't see so well. We said that Jalen Carter was going to be a bust. Obviously, based on how this first season has gone, and it's just 1 year. That has not happened. The reason we said Jalen Carter was going to be a bust is we had character concerns. There was, at the time, going on a lot of legal trauma problems with him about the drunk driving, the car accident, stuff like that. We were concerned that might carry over to the NFL once guys get a lot more money and more freedom. There's less school going on. Thankfully, that has not happened for him in his first season. We do hope that does continue. And if there's a take I'm going to be wrong on, I'm glad it's this one. I'm glad this guy's not a bust. I'm glad he's living his best life, being a star defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Same here. I'm glad he's doing well. And is he playing over Jordan Davis now?
I think so. There's been a lot of complaints. I think he is, because there's been a lot of complaints about Jordan Davis's effort level. I guess some people have mentioned he's come in overweight. He hasn't been playing up to the expectation that's kind of been set. So I think he is starting over Jordan Davis right now.
Okay, Jalen. Let's get it then.
Mm-hmm. And he's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year right now, I believe.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So,
keeping the Bears theme the same here, we did say that DJ Moore would be top 10 in receiving yards, and he is. Or I guess he should be. He's ranked 7th right now, and unless some bizarre stuff happens this upcoming weekend where other guys just get like 200 yards receiving and bump him out of the top 10, I think it's safe to say he will be in the top 10. This add another factor to that, I guess, argument too, or that take. We also said like Fields about to throw like 4,000 yards for him to get there, and like he's obviously nowhere close. He missed 4.5 games. I don't know how much passing yards Bajan has in the 4 games that he played, but as a team, I don't think we're at 4,000 passing yards. So that just means like they're feeding him the ball, which is awesome to see. He's a great athlete. And yeah, he's also a snub for the Pro Bowl too. I had thrown that out there. But yeah, we were right about DJ Moore.
Yeah, imagine now adding another weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr. to that room and seeing what happens.
Oh,
or
man,
Malik Napers or Romeo Dunze, Brock Bowers. Another potential miss for us. Not potential miss. Another miss for us. We missed really badly on this one. We said the Ravens were going to miss the playoffs. We figured. So the reasoning behind the prediction at that time was that the Browns had Deshaun Watson, who was in the second year in the system. They had added Darius Smith. They had made a lot of great pieces to make them look like they were going to be contention. The Bengals still had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and they looked spectacular, obviously, in the season prior. So we expected them to do well again. The Steelers were our hot up-and-coming team with the additions they had made in the draft and a couple of free agent signings. I believe one of them was like right guard, who they took. I can't remember the guy's name right now. But they were sleeper.
Alex Highsmith, too.
Alex Highsmith, who they re-signed. They looked like they had a vaunted defense, which they do. So it looked like they were going to make the playoffs. So we just figured there wasn't enough spaces potentially for everyone, so someone had to be left out. The Ravens had made the least
Amount of noise.
notable additions, so that kind of to us made logical sense of if someone's going to miss the playoffs, it might be the Ravens. Now, granted, we didn't predict that they were going to have a terrible season. We just thought they'd probably slightly miss the playoffs. Obviously, that was wrong. They are the number one seed in the AFC. They have been a juggernaut for the majority of the year. They've blown out a lot of good playoff teams. So good for the Ravens. Good on them. Bad for us on that take.
We might have missed the Ravens doing well as a team, but we did hit on a player who they drafted this season. We said Zay Flowers will be an impact player for the Ravens. And we said is this player going to bust? Is he not segment during, April time, whatever the draft was? And we said he was not going to be a bust. He's going to be really, really good for them, mostly because he's stepping into that Hollywood Brown role. And sure enough, he is doing pretty well. He's leading the Ravens in every receiving metric right now. And then my hunch tells me they're going to lean on him a lot in the playoffs here. Just kind of open up the field, right? Get the passing game going, so the run game can also get going too, especially now they have Dalvin Cook. So even though we missed on the Ravens team doing well, we were right about one of their young stars.
Perfect. That's the last of your hits, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my hits now, starting off with the biggest, most noteworthy one. We put out a video in the offseason. We want to do a college video, what team do we think is an under-the-radar team that no one's talking about that needs to get the recognition that could go all the way? And we started snooping around, and you know who we settled on? We found the old Washington Huskies were getting zero attention. No one was talking about them. And we even had a couple fans screaming at us like, hey, you guys need to discuss this. You guys need to be looking at this. You guys are stupid and missing on this. So we said, you know what? You're right, fans. Let's look into this. And we noticed that there was a team that went 10-2 that had multiple 1,000-yard receivers, had a quarterback that threw for over 4,000 yards, and a running back that put up, I think it was 800 yards last season, that was getting zero attention. No one was thinking they're going to win the Pac-12. No one was thinking they're going to make the national championship. So we said, you know what? We think that. We think this team is really, really good. We think that they're going to be really, really good this year. We think they can win the Pac-12. We think they can make it to the national championship game. And you know what? They since have gone 14-0. They have beat the Oregon Ducks twice. They have now beat Texas and Quinn Ewers, and they are now facing Harbaugh and Michigan in the national championship game. I don't think it gets any more right than that. And I'm going to give myself an honorable mention because we only did 2 under-the-radar college teams. And you know who the second one was? Florida State, Mr. 13-0, won the ACC, exactly what we predicted. And we had a bunch of Clemson fans in our comments and Clemson fans online telling us, you guys are wrong. Clemson's going to do this. Clemson's going to do that. Florida State sucks. And you know what? Nailed that one too. 13-0 ACC champions.
Man, and think about it. Florida State was one player away from getting to the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just, the Washington Husky hit is probably the hit that I'm most proud about too, because that's something that we've been kind of on the forefront about, and I'm kind of patting our own backs right now because, again, we've been talking about Washington since July, June even, around then, and people are like, oh, no, they're not going to do anything. Then boom, now they might go win a damn natty. That's awesome, man. One thing that we missed on, Offensive Rookie of the Year, we said Bryce Young would bring home the hardware there. To be fair, we did not know the Panthers were going to be a dumpster fire this year. We didn't think they would be. I can't even say that because we kind of did. We did not know they were going to just be awful. The defense pretty solid. The offense, nothing is going on there. I think some members of their staff, the head coach got fired. Who else got fired? I think the
offensive coordinator,
everyone's
QB
gone.
Coach.
It's a disaster.
Everyone's
right
gone.
Now. Everyone's gone.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is right there for us. Assuming he does win it, and we're like, no, we'll go with Bryce. So that is a miss there.
So I will, and to explain our logic a little bit further on why we picked Bryce Young, we specifically said in that video that we felt it's a quarterback award. Usually, everything in the league is quarterback driven. Although I guess previously the last couple have been receivers to have won it. But we said it's going to go to a quarterback. Bryce Young's the number 1 overall pick. It just seemed to make sense. We were one player off. We said Bryce Young. We said we were going to go quarterback. It actually went to the number 2 overall quarterback in C.J. Stroud. So we did miss, but only by 1 pick. To go on with another one of our hits, we did call Myles Garrett being the defensive player of the year. Now, granted, he has not won the award. And specifically in the video, what we discussed was that the addition of Zadarius Smith was the best rush partner he had ever played with in his career, and it was going to unlock his potential. And not only has it unlocked his potential, it has made that defensive unit one of the top units, not only in the NFL, but in NFL history. So there's a good chance he does win it. He's had a spectacular season. There is no clear favorite right now that I can see. I know some people have suggested Micah Parsons, which I don't know why he literally hasn't. Again, nothing against Micah Parsons. He's a great player. But he hasn't done anything, I mean, besides, I guess, quarterback pressures that haven't converted to sacks, because he's still at 13, I think, for the year. So I'm still going to call that a win for us. We predicted that it was going to unlock that defense, and so far it has.
It has. So. That defense is scary. It's crazy. So this next miss is a twofer. It's about the same team, I guess. Yeah, it is. So first, we predicted that Daniel Jones could be a top 10 quarterback, and then pair that up with, watch out for the Giants. They'll be a sleeper team this year. Watch out for them. They could make some noise. Both of those statements are false. So the reason behind Daniel Jones maybe being top 10 quarterback, we like the fact that he's dual threat. Second year in Brian Daboll's offense. Last year, they made the playoffs. He should surely take that leap forward. Got that big contract in the offseason. It was all set there, and it went disastrous. Same thing with the team, the Giants as a team overall. Again, they won a playoff game last season. First year under Brian Daboll. Thought they'll make that jump forward. And obviously, Daniel Jones got hurt, and that sucks for him. Hopefully, it's a speedy recovery there. Now they're looking to probably draft a quarterback. I think they're probably done with Daniel Jones. They have an out going into 2025 and his contract. So it looks like that story may be done there. But yeah, not looking good for the Giants.
I'm going to piggyback on for that for our hit, because we did pivot very quickly away from that. I think it only took us 4 games to change our opinion about what the Giants were going to be and look like. And this is before Daniel Jones got hurt, where we released our video that it was time to move on from Daniel Jones. We discussed his, like you mentioned, his contract. He has an out in 2025. What would make the most logical sense is for the Giants to draft a guy who might take a year to develop. If we're looking at maybe a Jaden Daniels would be fantastic in that kind of spot, or Bo Nix, and then either cut Daniel Jones. Well, now with the injury, we discussed that he could sit as the backup until healthy, where the rookie's not going to get a lot of reps, and you can just learn from Daniel Jones before you release Daniel or trade him, whatever it is. But we did say that, I think it was like the first week of October, that it's time to get rid of Daniel Jones. The contract was clearly a mistake. Clearly, it was a 1-year fluke, and it's not something that should be held on to for much longer.
That's true.
So,
was that your hit? Or I have one more miss.
Okay.
It's more for me to clear my conscience. I felt pretty bad about the thing that I said about this person. Will Levis, I was not kind to him after the draft. We did we had a segment on players who we think will bust and who will not, and I was not kind to Mr. Levis. I kind of thought he'd be like a Johnny Manziel type of prospect. There's nothing there for me that I liked about him. And of course, it's too early to say if he's a franchise guy for the Titans, but he did look pretty good in the opportunities that he was given. I do think the team handled him pretty well this season. They didn't rush him to play, right? I think that they kind of let him sit. I mean, he didn't start till week 9, I want to say, maybe even a little later than that, maybe around there, the halfway point. And they didn't ask a whole lot out of him, but he did pretty well. So To the man who likes mayo in his coffee, I give you praise. Hopefully, you keep on going, man.
And I will add one more hit to that. I think we kind of mentioned it in our first ever video. I'm gonna fuck up my glasses here. God damn it! Right before I take a victory lap, that's never good. That's karma coming to get me early. So I only mentioned this quickly in the one first video that we did, and I kind of tweeted a couple things surrounding it. On hits, I severely disagreed with what the 49ers did in their draft in the third round. For those that aren't aware, they drafted Cameron Latu out of Alabama, tight end. Then they started with taking Jake Moody, and then took Cameron Latu. And I was screaming at my TV screen that night that you need a right frickin' tackle. I can't remember the guy's name right now. Something Breland. He was out of BYU. Blake Breland out of BYU was taken 3 picks or 4 picks later after he has been a starter for, I believe it was the Colts, pretty much all year. He's been solid for them. They've given Gardner Minshew a decent amount of time. Meanwhile, the 49ers offensive line has been ranked 22nd on the season, with the right tackle Colt McKivitz being an absolute turnstile there for the 49ers and damn near getting Brock Purdy killed on several different occasions. So
Damn.
I'm going to take a victory lap on that one, and I'm going to pair it with this other victory fucking lap here. Oh, Cameron Latu for the record. Cameron Latu for the record, who, if you guys aren't aware who that is, because he hasn't played a snap of football all goddamn year. Yeah, I don't know if he's been on the IR or the practice squad or where the fuck he's at. Has not played a single fucking snap. Exactly. Has not played a single fucking snap all year. I'm going to double down on that as well. I was also screaming at every 49ers reporter this past offseason, even before we had the podcast, and I was gently saying it to him after we had a podcast because I don't want to be mean, that they need a defensive end across from fucking Nick Bosa. And I kept being told, hey, Drake Jackson, it's his second year at USC. He's worked on his body. He's yoked. Now, I said, I didn't see it last year. I'm not seeing it this year. You guys need a fucking defensive end across from you. You need somebody. And I kept getting told by fans, no, we have Drake Jackson. No, we just drafted a guy out of Georgia. We're good. I was like, that's not it. We need somebody. We need someone actual, like, special, a starter.
Right.
Since they have traded for Chris Young, that defensive unit has looked different. They've looked much better. They've looked like a top 10, top 5 unit that we all kind of were expecting them to be because of the addition of a right defensive fucking end across from Nick Bosa. So just taking a victory lap on those two 49ers points that I've been screaming about all offseason, and hopefully they take my advice in consideration this offseason and they get that right tackle fucking situation figured out because it is miserable.
Yeah, no, dude. I think those takes are. I mean, you hit it right on like the head, man. I hope we don't run out of breath on your victory laps because I mean, those are like good ones too. If only they like.
This is my cardio.
I know that it would probably wasn't going to happen because Washington want to see what they had in like a team, but I wish it could have been some deal in the offseason with Chase Young to get them there sooner. Or I know he was kind of coming back from injury too. At the beginning of the season, I don't think he was clear right away. I don't think he was playing right away. Yeah. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe that went in the factor with it. But yeah, to your point, the 49ers defense got a whole lot better after Young was added there. And then so I didn't realize the 49ers O-line ranked 22nd, which is amazing considering how like fine-tuned the offense is. Like with a mid-tier O-line and still putting up the numbers that they are. It's crazy.
Well, and that's why it's kind of just we won't dive too deep into this right now. So just a quick overview. That's why that 3-game skid that the 49ers had, the offense looked so bad was because Trent Williams was hurt. And he's the whole engine. They're going to run to the left because that's behind Trent Williams. Mm-hmm. The left guard, Aaron Banks, he's okay. He's solid. The center, Jake Brendyn has been okay. So if you're getting out grades, right, Trent Williams is an A+. Aaron Banks is about a B. Jake Brendyl's about a C. The right guard, which initially was Spencer Burford, but then got benched for Joe Feliciano, it's about a C-, maybe D+. And then Colt McKivitz has been a fucking D-, almost an F all season. Damn. I mean, there's times he's just watched where, he's just getting literally walked back into Brock Purdy's lap. And Brock Purdy's still delivering. It's part of the emphasis why me, you, and a lot of other people have been screaming what Brock Purdy is doing is amazing, because the O-line from about center on to the right is getting fucking dog walked every other play.
Yeah,
So,
but he has Debo and BA and Kittle, so he's just like a system quarterback. He's plug and play. Nothing special.
just to add on to that, just add on to what you literally just said, which is so fucking funny as well about this. And I will end this rant here, I promise, after this. Brock Purdy threw to 0 Pro Bowl receivers all season.
That's wild.
Debo and Brandon Ayuk did not make the Pro Bowl. For those that are saying he's just loaded with skilled position players over there,
yeah,
he did not throw a single touchdown to a Pro Bowl wide receiver all year.
Yeah,
George Kittle made the Pro Bowl, and Chris McCaffrey made the Pro Bowl.
And I guess he's the only check down merchant that has the most air yards in like the league too. So I guess that kind of makes sense, right?
Exactly.
That's
no one
not like paradoxical at all.
I know. Which we won't take a victory lap on that, because you can consider us wrong on the Purdy MVP video, even though one bad game shouldn't fucking determine that, but whatever. But we were right that Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
So last little mini victory lap on that. But with that, we will conclude. The season is coming down to an end, guys. So why don't you go to the comment section. If you've been with us all year, let us know what take of ours has been your favorite, which one you've disagreed the most with. Give us a like, a subscribe if you aren't already. And we love hearing from you guys as always. But until next time, it's been B, it's been Emmett. You guys can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. With that, y'all have a good night.